All right, my friend, welcome. This is Dr. Anthony Balduzzi, founder here at the Fit Father Project. In today's special video, we're gonna talk about what you can do if you find that you're gaining muscle, but you're not losing fat. So you're getting stronger, you're maybe even getting bigger, but you want a look that's both big and lean at the same time, and the fat loss is not working for you while you're gaining the muscle. We have some great fixes for you here in this video today. Specifically, we're gonna talk about these 4 tips, strategies, and tactics. I know you're gonna learn a ton, so get out a pen and paper, take some notes, and let's dive on in.
FitFatherProject.com.
All right, so to get started into this topic, first we need to talk about the overall big picture of what it takes to be building muscle in the first place. And typically what that means is you are in a calorie surplus. You are eating more calories than you're burning every day. And the reason that's important typically for muscle building is that those excess calories help your body retain more nitrogen and have more protein synthesis. So we're typically eating more calories and more protein, so our body has the energy and the substrates in terms of proteins and amino acids to build new muscle. But what often happens if our calorie surplus is too high, our body can only have so much protein synthesis, and calories that we're getting past that point are gonna get stored as fat. So the first thing we need to look at is, are you eating way too many calories? What the research tends to show is what guys really need for muscle building is only about a calorie surplus of around 200 to 250 calories. That's not very much. That's certainly about half of what a normal bodybuilding meal would be, of like chicken breast, brown rice, broccoli. So it's not that much extra food that you need above your total energy expenditure to build muscle. So are you tremendously overeating? If you know you are, it might be a time to scale back a little bit. Now, what we typically recommend is guys eat around 500 calories over your surplus, because the danger of trying to get too tight to that ideal calorie surplus is you might undereat and you might be not getting enough calories. So with that being said, think about your overall calorie target. Now let's talk about some of these strategies. So let's say you have your nutrition pretty dialed in. The first thing I'd recommend, so you can get a little more fat loss along with your muscle building, is to start doing high intensity interval training 1 to 2 times per week on different days than your actual lifting workouts. So an HIIT session that'd be really good for the purposes of getting leaner while still getting big would be doing like 45-second sprints on a bike, or just actually running with 1 minute off. So like 45 seconds on, 1 minute off, and repeating that cycle for like 15 to 20 minutes, 1 to 2 times per week. The reason high intensity interval training is particularly great for the purposes of bulking is you're not doing long drawn out calorie sessions where you're burning 600 calories, but you are giving your body a metabolic boost, so you're gonna be burning more fat at rest. And when our bodies are at rest, we typically pull calories from fat, because it's not an energetically demanding thing to be hanging out in the office or at our homes. So our body likes to burn fat at rest. And if you have an elevated metabolism, we're burning more fat while we're still building muscle. And plus, if the stimulus is high intensity in nature, meaning you're sprinting, there is actually a muscle building benefit to doing high intensity explosive activities like sprinting. So that is a good thing that almost like works in conjunction with your lifting workouts. Now you do need to know when you're doing high intensity, make sure you're getting enough recovery, because if you're doing high intensity interval training the day after leg day, it could impair your gains, it could impair your recovery, so make sure you space things out. So what I might do, if I had an upper body day, I might do high intensity interval training after the upper day, take a day of rest, then do my lower body training. But 1 to 2 times a week of high intensity interval training can definitely help get you on the right track once your nutrition's dialed in. Next habit, it's really great, is to start doing some carb or calorie cycling. Your body typically needs more calories when you're training than on days you're not training. So this is a little more of an advanced nutrition topic, but essentially calorie cycling. So let's say that we know that you burn 3,500 calories on days that you train. And on days you don't train, you're not doing that 1 hour of exercise, roughly equating to around 500 calories. So you might only need 3,000 calories on those off days. So we know on your on days, you have more calories than on your off days. And what I typically like to tell people, without making them really neurotic about counting every gram and calorie that goes into their body, is a good way is to use that post-workout shake that you only have on days that you train as the calorie difference. If we can get you a 500 calorie shake, then you can calorie cycle really easily between just having the shake on days you train, pulling it on days you don't, and your base meals can stay the same. I hope that makes sense. We're basically using the shake as a lever to bump up your carb numbers. And this is what calorie cycling is, essentially how eating lower calories on days you are resting or recovering. This is not meaning that you're eating so few calories that you're in a calorie deficit and that you're dieting necessarily. Although, if you're on a type of plan where you actually are, some of these diet setups work really well where you're on calorie surplus on days you're lifting. So let's say you have 4 lifting days, you're eating at 3,500 calories, and you can be in a slight deficit on days that you're resting. So you got to kind of figure out what your total energy expenditure is for the day, and we have a calculator below in the description for you that'll give you an idea of, based on your activity, how many calories you burn a day. Because once we have that figure, then we can start to play with things. And if you have no idea what that figure is, it's really hard to both lose fat and gain muscle at the same time, because things have to be a little more dialed in. But calorie and carb cycling really do work. And another thing you can consider doing is on those off days where you're not training, lower the carbs, which is easily what we'd be doing with that shake strategy, because a lot of the calories in that shake would be coming from some carbohydrates post-exercise. But you can eat on a lower carb diet on those off days. That'll help improve your insulin sensitivity, and it'll make sure that you're not, just overpiling the carbs on days you're not training and don't actually need them. So that's strategy number 2. The third strategy is doing some intermittent fasting, which essentially at a very high level is compressing your eating window and having a large period of the day where you're fasting and you're not eating anything. So a couple simple setups for muscle building that tend to work well is the 16-8 setup, meaning you are fasting for 16 hours a day and you compress your eating window into 8 hours. So what this might look like practically is you have your first meal at around 10:30 or 11 a.m., you have a snack around 3 or 4 before training, and then you have a big training meal around 7. So we're kind of eating between the hours of 11 and 7 or so. And that's not to say your eating window couldn't be a little bigger or a lot smaller. Some people even find they like to eat 1 to 2 meals per day. For the purposes of muscle building, do know this: the smaller you make your eating window, the more calories you have to get in during that time. Because the danger would be if you do 1 meal a day, for example, you're going to try realistically eat 3,000 calories in 1 meal, and let alone would your body actually be able to absorb that onslaught of food versus if it's more spaced out. There's a lot of digestive stress that comes with that. Point being though, if you're not intermittent fasting, and you find that you'd be okay with trying that, because it is an effective nutrition approach for sure, maybe consider doing that. And it doesn't have to be daily either. What you can also do, and I used very effectively back in the days when I was bodybuilding, is 1 24-hour fast per week on a rest day. So what that means is, let's say I'm resting on a Friday, for example, I'd have dinner on Thursday night and I would fast until dinner on Friday while drinking green tea. That's a 24-hour fast. And remember, I'm at rest when I'm doing that, so I'm not requiring a lot of carbohydrate demand from anaerobic exercise. So what that means is my body's burning fat at rest, I'm creating a calorie deficit, and I'm drinking green tea, which is research proven to improve insulin sensitivity and increase fat burning. So it's a really, really cool tactic, because you can be in a calorie surplus on other days that you're actually training, and you can use fasting as a way to create a calorie deficit. And what is intermittent fasting? Essentially, it can turn into a form of calorie and carb cycling. A fast is more or less just a calorie and carb cycle. We're just dramatically cutting the calories and carbs on one day if you choose to do a 24-hour strategy, or every day you can just compress the eating window. Really good tips here. Final one I want to talk about in this video is getting more sleep. Oftentimes what people find when they're not losing fat is they're not sleeping enough. They're undersleeping, which can be one of the worst things you can do for the purpose of muscle building and fat loss. So if you're not sleeping at least 7 quality hours, let's audit your sleep right now. And it's not just the total hours in bed, it's also the quality of that sleep. So are there ways you can improve your sleeping environment? Could you get some earplugs if there's some noise, or if there's lights in your room, can you get a face mask? Maybe turn down the temperature of the room, because our bodies like to be in cooler temperatures when we sleep. Point being, auditing your sleep and improving that can really help both the muscle building and the fat loss work better. What oftentimes happens is guys are sleeping 6 hours, they're training really hard, they're eating a lot of food, they gain some muscle, but their body's in a constant state of stress and not really fully recovering. So getting the sleep on track can help both these goals. I hope you found this helpful. What I'd recommend right now is you scroll below and you check out that calorie calculator, which is going to give you an idea of the number of calories you need every day to match your energy and training needs. And then let's definitely implement things like doing a little bit of calorie cycling. So a little higher on days you train, a little lower on days you don't train. What this does is creates that nutrient partitioning effect where we're building muscle in those days with higher calories, we're burning fat on days with lower calories. Consider the high intensity interval training. Start with 1 day per week. And if you're not seeing the fat loss you want, maybe go to 2 days per week. If your primary goal is muscle building, I would not recommend you go 3 or more days of high intensity interval training, because it can impact your recovery from your actual strength training workouts. And those are the things we really need to focus on. And lastly, of course, more sleep. So that's it, really 4 practical and effective strategies. I hope you found this video helpful. And as always, I wanted to invite you to subscribe to our Fit Father Project YouTube channel. We literally have hundreds of videos covering all these topics around fitness, muscle building, fat loss, workouts, exercise tutorials, and all the other stuff you want to know about how to stay healthy over the long haul. We are the health and fitness experts for busy fathers and guys over 40. We are happy you're here. I hope you found this video helpful. Hit a thumbs up, drop us a comment below, hit subscribe. We'd love to have you join us here on our YouTube channel, and I'll talk to you very soon, my friend.